These are all from Aristotle. Have I mentioned that Aristotle wrote the book on persuasion?
Yes.
Nope. I don't remember.
What, what's it called? What now?
Yeah, it's like
Rhetoric.
title. What am I missing here?
Rhetoric, thank you.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Rhetoric,
That-
which means the art of persuasion. And he says there are three ways to persuade, and this is held up through the centuries. One of those is called ethos. Okay. Same root word as ethics. And it refers to credibility, trustworthiness. It can be enough to persuade people with your own credibility. Even easier with your own credibility and outside sources. Let me give you an example. Let's say it's the end of whatever religion you belong to, it's the end of the weekly service, and your religious leader, your priest, minister, imam, rabbi, whomever, says, folks, I'm going to pass the plate one more time, take one more collection. I'm going to give it to the Smith family. Maybe you know the Smiths. They've been members of our congregation for decades. And if you do, you know that Mr. Smith lost his job last month. Well, last week, Mrs. Smith lost her job too. I'm working with both of them to try to find them jobs, but we have to keep them in their house this month. The Smiths, their two kids, we can't let them lose that house. So while I try to find them work, I'm going to pass the plate, and if you can, please throw in a little bit extra, and I'll make sure the Smiths get it, and that we can keep them in their housing. Okay. And I think chances are pretty good if you're a member of that religious group and you have a few dollars extra, you throw something in the plate. True?
Sure.
Sure. What the heck? Why not? But why do you do that?
Because you trust what the religious leader said.
Sure. Sure, exactly. The religious leader is your religious leader. You're there for a reason. They've probably done this before. They have a track record. They're authorized by the religion you belong to do this. They've got tons of credibility. You're not going to ask to see the Smith's bank account. Yeah, sure, I'll give, but let me see the bank records. Your religious leader says that you toss a 20 in the plate or whatever you can do. That's entirely based on the credibility of your religious leader. There's no logic behind it. There's no emotion, no passion behind it. Just, yep, okay, fine. Person says so, I will. Let's flip this around a little bit. This time I'm just me. Okay. I'm Leslie. I'm your speech teacher. Before class is over today, I am going to give you my PayPal address and my Venmo account because I'm taking up a collection for the woman who lives underneath me in my apartment. Her name's Kim. She works as a personal assistant to so-called celebrities, but they're usually B-grade actors, people who haven't made it. And those folks don't have any money, so Kim is out of work. Kim doesn't think she's going to be able to make the June rent. So I would appreciate it if when I give you my account numbers, if you will drop a few dollars in there, I'll make sure that Kim gets it, and we'll see what we can do about helping Kim out with her rent.
Hey, drop your Venmo account.
Yeah, how many of you put money in my accounts?
The funny thing is, I mean, I personally want to do it, but I also am the person who doesn't do those like Kickstarter things. But there are plenty of people who do to contribute to the crowdfunding
I
through
know,
random people.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. And please don't give me money for Kim, all right? I hate Kim. She's totally obnoxious. Everybody in the building hates her. Don't give money to Kim. If you put money in my account, I'm going to Jersey Mike's for a really nice lunch, okay? Don't. Just don't. But yeah, and I mean, Jin's right. People drop money in Kickstarters all the time, and and I'm like, whoa, people they don't even know.
Yeah.
Very weird to me, but there it is. And that's credibility. Now, up. Let's not jump ahead. We also have pathos. And can I have a time check, please?
10:07.
10:07, okay. Pathos is related root word, same root word as pathetic, and actually passion. This is the emotional appeal. In Western civilization, we don't think much of this. We think it's cheap. We think it's manipulative. We don't take emotions very seriously in our culture. Aristotle did. He thought this was the most effective way to persuade people. And he did that on the basis that it is emotions, okay, the human connection, that gets people to move. And quite frankly, logic doesn't do this. If I say to you very logically, 9 plus 6 equals 15, you don't feel closer to me, I don't think. You don't feel warmer about me as a human being. Logic doesn't do that. But this is where I tell you, if it works for your speech, put some feeling in this. If you're angry about something, be angry. Let us share that anger with you. If something good is happening, enjoy that something good is happening, and let us have that feeling too. I'm going to try something here. Back to my handy-dandy lectern. I want to ask one thing of you today. I'd like you to look around your world, your friends, your family. See if you can find somebody who you don't think needs help, but maybe they do, and maybe you can help them. I know, it sounds a little odd. But I'm going to tell you a story. And let me warn you, the story starts really sad. It doesn't end up that way, but I have to start at the beginning. A few years back, I was teaching at PCC. I had one of those classes that go from 7 to 10, got off at 10. At the time, I was sharing housing with my brother. He hadn't been feeling well that morning. And I went home, got home about 10:30. And he had had a stroke and was dead on the living room floor. And apparently he'd been there for some hours. He was stiff and gray and the phone had rolled out of his hand. He'd been trying to call, I don't know, the hospital, me. Okay. So something you have to know about my brother is he was an indigenous identified Chicano. Don't ask how that happened, okay? That's another whole story. But he was Mayan identified, and he was studying Mayan culture and participating in Mayan culture with a group here in Los Angeles. So I called up the leader of his Teshkapali, the school where he was doing all of this. And they sent up prayers for him. I did what they do. I saged the body. I mean, his culture is not mine, but I tried to honor his culture as best I could. And they had a beautiful ceremony for him. The danzantes, elders spoke. They stood in salute to him. It was really, really nice. Okay. Fast forward. This was in January. Fast forward to beginning of October somewhere. My brother and I belonged to a community center, a centro in East LA, that did annual Day of the Dead recognition with the ofrendas, the altares, the altars to the deceased in the family. And I realized that I had to do an ofrenda for my brother Rafael. I was his family. And I realized I had no clue what I was doing. I was so lost. I was Googling Day of the Dead. I was going down to the Aldera Street, looking at all these beautiful family tributes out there, trying to figure out where I could get marigolds in my neighborhood. I was making that bread that looks like a big knot. It came out like a rock. I mean, I dropped it on the floor. I could have shook the building. I don't know how to make horchata. I'm just dying at this. But I do my best, and I put it together in my living room, and I take a look at what I've done, and it's sad. It's what I got, but it's no. So I box it up and I put it in my car. And I go over to the Centro. I walk in and there are these beautiful, gorgeous ofrendas draped in purple with marigolds and candles and mementos from the people who have passed. There's one in the corner that's 2 levels. It's not finished yet. It's not dressed out with the family stuff, but it's got woven marigolds around it and around the room. These beautiful ofrendas. I'm standing there. I feel a hand on my shoulder. I turn around and it's Alberto. At the time he was a student at UCLA, a friend of mine. He said, "Hey, Leslie." I said, "Hey, Beto." He said, "Did you bring any of Rafa's stuff?" I said, "Yeah, I got it in the car." And he said, "Good." Because Liz, another friend of mine, a student, not my student, but a student at East LA College, said, "Liz and I, we stayed up all night to make that ofrenda for Rafael because we knew you couldn't." I can never repay them for that. So every semester, for every class, I try to pay it forward. And I simply ask that you look around people in your life, your family members, people who you don't think need help, and maybe think of some way to help them. Thank you.
That was very emotional.
Yes,
Are you okay?
I will be. I will be.
It was genuine.
And I'm guessing that everybody in this room right now is thinking about people who they don't normally think of as needing help and asking yourself how you can help them. In other words, I just persuaded you.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It doesn't have to be people having a big aha moment. Sometimes it's just that. Now let me point out, there is nothing in that speech about my credibility. Obviously, I have no credibility when it comes to what was going on in that. There's no logic in it. It's just a human connection.
Yeah.
Emotions work, and I hope nobody feels manipulated by that. If it's real and it's truthful, I don't think it's manipulation. I don't think there's anything wrong with getting you folks to think about people who might need some help out there. All of these methods, you can lie about your credibility, you can misuse logic, you can certainly misuse emotion. They can all be mishandled and misused. But if it's truthful and it's honest and it's sincere, I don't think there's anything wrong with emotions. All right, I want to leave you with one last slide before we go today. You all know the essence of logic. It's pervasive in our society. You start with a claim. You use facts that everybody agrees on, and if they agree on the facts, then logically speaking, they should agree to your claim. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward stuff. It isn't, but it is. That's the essence of it right there.